Wee. Just make sure. I think we're live, everyone. Hello. Let me just check.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I was like, I think I have my YouTube on, so I'm going to need to mute it. Come on. Okay, no, we're good. We're good. Okay, hello, everyone. It's been so soon since we did this. I love it. I love the quick 2-week one was nice for this one. But yeah, we get to talk about Frost and Starlight tonight. Just a nice little quickie. So pretty.
Love that cover.
I know. So cool. Their restock is for like Black Friday or something. Might be sooner.
I have a reminder set on my phone.
Do it. They're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. Okay, let's see. Stacy's here. Hello, Stacy.
Hello.
She says, I finished 10 minutes ago. Good for you. Good for you.
Get it.
Hey, Jocelyn. Hello. All right. Well, we'll chat for a couple minutes here. I give people some time to hop in here. What's everyone reading right now? Let's talk about that. And then I'm planning for us to hopefully be less than an hour, just for once to not be on here for 3 hours since we can do it. We're just going to go character by character tonight and just do like, where's everybody at? That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So we'll try to get through that. I mean, I'm not going to rush anyone. Obviously we can talk, but I just mean we'll aim for an hour. Poor Melissa's been online live for literally
all day.
2 days.
Yeah, 8 hours last night and 5 today.
Nice, girl.
You
So
go.
have you got a lot of reading done? Or were you distracted a lot? Because see, that's what always happens to me is when I want to like really read, that's when I get distracted.
I get distracted too on lives a lot of the time.
I finished 2 books and I read probably another 100 pages of like other books.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. So what are you reading now?
I am actually reading a fantasy kind of romance. Witches.
Oh, Discovery
of Witches.
Loved it.
I haven't read it yet.
So. I never finished that trilogy, but I loved the first and the second book. But I never finished.
My cousin's wife has been like on me to read it. Like she's the one who got me into ACOTAR, and she's like, "You need to read this one now." So
you kind of owe her. You kind of owe her. You gotta do it. No, I mean, I thought the world building and stuff in that series was great. It got too much for my poor brain. I needed it to be a little. That happens in fantasy for me. Yeah, that happens to be in fantasy. But I mean, I liked it to start with. But anyway, Rachel, what are you reading?
I'm currently reading Baron by Joanna Shupe. So that's book 2 in her Knickerbocker Club series, which was the first series that she ever published, and that wasn't with Avon. But it's fantastic. It's hate to love between this woman who's a medium and the hero is a railroad baron. And they just keep going toe to toe, but of course they can't help their attraction to each other. And there's plenty of angst. It's going to be a 5-star for me. I'm having a great time. Yeah.
I have that one because I put it on my wish list because Crystal loved it. And then someone sent it to me as a gift, and now I've never read it, but I want to because every time someone's like, "Oh, I read her first series, I love it," or one of those.
Yeah, it's really great. I didn't expect much from it, but I'm really enjoying it.
Nice. Joe, what you got?
I have my book right here. It's Trick, which I feel like I've been reading this for forever. It's by Natalia Jaster, and it is a kind of like court jester romance. If you've read Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which I read that so long ago,
I love that book.
It feels like that, but on steroids and with chapters of sex, and it's great. No, I feel like I've been reading it forever, but it's really good. So yeah.
Who's the author?
Natalia Jaster, Jaster.
Cool.
Yeah,
I've never heard of this.
Enjoying it.
I
saw it on TikTok.
Yeah, there it is, man.
It's where I spend my life.
I know. I love it. I love it and I hate it. I love it and I hate it.
Well, I'll find the good ones and then I'll, hand them to you, and you might like them, you might not.
Sometimes I do. I think I've just now over the year and a half or so now, I just know which people I listen to when they say a book is spicy, and then I'm good. Like it's the people who they think something is spicy because there's one sex scene, and I'm like, okay.
Well, this one, I mean, it takes a while to get to the spice.
Oh, I don't care about that. I just don't want there to be none.
But
like
it's
guild.
Fucking guild. It's almost the most descriptive sex scenes that I've ever read.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I just found the audio books too, so that's
nice.
The only thing is I think it's going to be a longer series following the same couple. So this is just like the setup for them. So we'll see.
Yeah. I like it. Oh my.
Already?
See, you mentioned sex scene, Joe.
I'm sorry.
You brought the toys.
Sorry. I brought bad
hilarious.
people.
No, I love it. I love it. What am I reading? I finished a book today, so now I actually need to look what I'm still in the middle of. Oh, well, I have not read any more of this since I was on Melissa's last night because I finished Sea of Ruin when we got off last night. And then on Saturdays, I never get to read. I never get to read before 10 p.m. because I have to film and upload, and then we have to use them. So I haven't started anything new, but I'm also reading something else. What am I reading? Reading that. And I did start the audiobook for The Secrets of Shadow and Blood, Joe. So I did start book 4 of the Guardians. So now I'm in the vampires and I'm here for it. And then the next ebook I'm going to start, because wow, that's perfect. Actually, I have a physical book and an audiobook, and I'm going to start Off to the Races because that's on my TBR and I'm ready for more Elsie Silver. So
nice.
Gonna get in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, especially because Yellowstone's back tomorrow, so I need to get my cowboy on. Although I'm pretty sure that's like a jockey. They're not quite the same. They're like the preppy horse riders, That's okay. I loved horse racing when I was a kid. That's one of my first series that I read. But okay, let me see what some people were reading here. Let me see. Oh, Amanda binged through everything before. That is totally fine, Amanda. See, you could have read it again now. That's what some people are doing, right? But that's okay. Currently reading A Far Wilder Magic. Interesting. All right, Carmen. Love it. Love it. That is by Angeline Booley. All right. Carrie, I saw this in my periphery and it made me very excited. Nobody ever reads Lynn Burke. I love that series. It's so twisted. It's a less twisted version of reading like Wild by Kay Webster because it's not the thing. Like it's not that thing, but it's that like stuck in the wilderness.
I've never heard of this.
Oh my gosh, there's 3 books in this series and they're all like survival-esque type things. They're not necessarily people who are in danger or anything, but one of them is a woman or a man who he's like gonna seclude himself away, and he has a one-night stand with a woman at a bar because he's like, I'm not going to be around women for a long time, so I'm going to do it. And then the woman he had a one-night stand with is his pilot that's supposed to take him out to the bush, and so he had like ditched her because he was going to be late for his plane, and then the woman that he just ditched was her. She's the person who always is like bringing him supplies, and then one time when she comes out there, like she gets hurt, and so then it becomes like he's helping her. So that's one of the books. And then anyway, I love it. I was reading those when I was going through my phase of survivalist romances. Another one in that series is one where like a dude and his son live out there, and he goes to town to get a wife, and he ends up getting this wife who's really young, and then she falls in love with the son instead. So that one was a stepmom romance, which I never read, even though she's only like 5 years older than the son, because he's like 20 or something. But anyway, love that. So I hope you're liking that, Carrie. Yep, that's that one. Yep, I figured that one was that one. The new Sally Thorne. Yes, Amanda.
Interesting.
Yes. I don't know if anyone watched Crystal's vlog about that book, but we had lots of conversations about it. because it's an interesting thing. Like, it's interesting, but also from what Crystal told me, it didn't go far enough into the discussion about what they're creating. Because, like, it's literally a woman building her own sex doll. That's a man.
Yeah.
And then, but it was used for laughs, like her picking out what size cock that she wants him to have out of body parts and things. And so Crystal was like, I get it. She's like, it's like a 13-year-old humor where you're like, hee hee, I'm picking out which dick it's going to be, like, whatever. But it like didn't go far enough almost.
Yeah.
Like, it was funny. And so the whole time through it, I was like, I feel like she's missing the point of, like, Frankenstein. Like, you're redoing Frankenstein and you've made it so she's making a man, but the whole point of Frankenstein is, like, bodily autonomy, and, like, you're creating someone and then you're in control, and then, like, all those things, and they, like, didn't happen. But granted, Amanda, that is me talking about the book that I have not read. My friend read it, but that's what I mean. Like, I've definitely heard it's unusual and unique, but also, like, I don't know. I think it's kind of irresponsible if you're one of the mainstream authors writing a story like that and then you just play it for laughs. Because I'm like, it's not funny just because you gender swapped it to make the man.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, that's not cool. If it was a woman, if it was a guy creating a pocket pussy,
Yeah,
you would have problems with it. And
Yes.
if that, you know, I was like, if that's not what you did with the story, then you're using feminism to be, like, revenge wise. I don't like
Yeah, and just for laughs, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make an autonomous who then, like, has, like, body betrayal because, like, his cock will get hard for her and he doesn't want it to.
Oh.
See, this isn't funny. It's not funny.
Yeah,
when they do
not
that, right?
funny. Oh my god.
Right? Anyway,
Ooh.
I'll stop now. Diving into the spiral, but Amanda, I hope I just didn't, like, ruin something for you. I'm not saying you shouldn't like it if you do, because on Fated Mates, they just recommended it as, like, this was a funny Halloween romance after I just heard Crystal talk about how tough it was. So not everything has to be dived into. It's one of those where it's like, if we gender swapped this, which is a gender swap already,
Yeah.
people would have had problems. And that's when I'm like, me. See, I'm sorry if I ruined that for you, Amanda. But also, I love you. I'm sorry. But also, I saved you if you didn't. I didn't mean to. Because I did think it was fascinating. The whole way through, we were like, well, maybe that's going to be the thing at the end. Is she, like, feels bad she did that. But off to the races. Yes, Stacey, you are one of the people who's really been talking about that. I love it. Second Time Sweeter by Beverly Jenkins.
Ooh, Queen Bev.
Love it. I wonder how much sway the editor put in their head. Oh, you mean of the Sally Thorne? I don't know. They know Sally Thorne tells. Hi, Lizelle. Welcome. Okay. All right. Well, I think we'll have the people who want to be here tonight. I knew this one would be a lower one. This is not everybody's favorite book. I also don't think we have any of the noobs tonight. So we'll just have to ask to the commenters.
Yeah.
But because all of you guys have read it already.
Yes.
So what did some of our first timers think? I think Jackie's usually who I ask, but Jackie is at Deer Camp, which I'm very familiar with. I went to Deer Camp a lot as a kid. But yeah, how did everybody feel about it? Specifically first timers, but there might not be that many of us. Amanda, if you read it the first time back in July, you said, what did you think of it? This one, like I said, we probably won't have as much of a deep dive, but let me see if anyone has any comments. Otherwise, we'll get into it.
Isn't it Stacey's first time reading? Isn't she a first timer?
Yeah, Stacey, are you, or are you just the first timer with the other series?
Oh, maybe with Throne of Glass.
Are you first for all of them? I'm sorry, Stacey, if I'm mixing you up, but
Yeah.
I'm never sure. There's a lot of people who it was first time with. Yeah, well, let's not. I mean, I know a lot of people will say that. Let's not do the, like, what's our favorites, because like, I mean, I know that I can feel that, but I want to get away from us being like, it's like my least, but like, what did you think of it? It's okay if it's your least favorite, but a least favorite of the best things ever doesn't have to be a bad one. Like, this is still a 4 or 5 star for me. I don't dislike it
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's my least favorite in the series too, because all the other books are fucking amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell you the first time that I read it was in 2020, and I had originally planned never to read it because so many people were just saying it's terrible, it's pointless, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, then I'm never going to read it. And then Silver Flames came out. And so I was like, oh, I should read it because, you know, it is canon, and I'm sure there's things that will that come into play in Silver Flames. And I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
The first time that I read it. I don't know, for me, it was just like an extended epilogue of the series. And it was just like a very Christmas feeling novella of healing, maybe not healing, you know, maybe relapsing for some characters, or just, you know, dealing with the aftermath.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought of it as an extended epilogue of like what happened after. And then
yes.
For the next, I kind of knew going into it what it was, that it wasn't going to be a full, I'm going to get a ton of recent era. I mean, we still got a lot of them, but it was, I knew what it was going into it.
Yep.
Yeah, same with both of you guys. I mean, I didn't read it until Silver Flames came out. And I remember reading, I Googled, I was like, do I have to read A Court of Frost and Starlight before I read A Court of Silver Flames? Because I had heard so many bad things about it. And I was like, I really don't want this to taint my view. But then I read it and I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, people compare it to a Hallmark movie. And, you know, Hallmark movies, there's nothing bad about them.
No.
And I think that it was just so fun because these characters go through a lot of shit throughout the series. And for a lot of book series, you don't get, especially if there's like a big war and fantasy romance, things like that, you don't get the aftermath of them trying to, you know, rebuild things and be happy and things like that. And I think that, you know, I liked it. I think it's fun. And I think, sure, it can be seen as like fan service, but who doesn't like fan service? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And honestly, now I want something like this for the Throne of Glass series. Like, I would read a novella of like the aftermath with that crew.
So, speaking as the old timer for this, because I've been reading her books since like Empire of Storms was the newest book, right? When I started reading. So everything after, I read it the day that the book
came out.
Uh-oh,
Jen,
no.
Jen, no. At first I thought we all froze, and I was like, uh-oh. Like,
it's just Jen.
I'm sure she'll be back in a minute. I know sometimes like her internet takes a second.
Yeah. She'll like switch to
like
her
reload or something. Yeah.
Frozen, give me 2 minutes. That's what she messaged on Instagram.
Oh, that's
okay, what are we going to talk about for the next 2 minutes, ladies?
I know, right?
I agree with what Brenda just said. If I commit to a series, I want all the details, and I'm committed. Yes.
True. Yeah. That's true.
Give me all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice too that we get so many different POVs in this as well.
We didn't get that in the series, you know, the main series. And it's nice to see, you know, Cassian and, you know, Nesta and all those people. It's great to see everyone get their own special POV.
Yeah, I did.
Me too.
Got more. Yeah. And I will say it was a little bit jarring for me. And I think I noticed it more this time upon reread that Feyre and Rhys's POVs are first person and everybody else's is third person. And I'm sure that's done on purpose, but it definitely was a little jarring, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think Nesta's
I didn't notice it the first time.
Is A Court of Silver Flames third person? I'm pretty sure it is. Is it?
Oh, I thought is it?
I'm pretty sure it is. And I think that's the main difference that people were talking about. They were like, why isn't Nesta's book in first person like Feyre's books? And I think that's an interesting choice.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, the original ACOTAR trilogy is the only of her books that are in first person. All the rest are in third.
Yeah.
Because all the last the Crescent City books, everything else is in third.
Yeah.
Jen, welcome back.
We're waiting for my phone to or my computer to update, so I'm holding my phone for now.
Oh, okay.
That's the worst because like the volume on this is horrible. I can barely hear anything. So.
Oh, okay.
So great. It's so great. Okay. So what's happening? I was speaking about expectations, but
no, I'd love to hear about your experience because you read these as they were coming out.
So for me, like I've shared this before, like we were not 100% sure that we were getting more books. Like when this one was coming out, like we did not know because we still weren't like the other series wasn't done yet either. We didn't know what her plans were coming next. So you don't know anything. So when she said, oh, I have this, little like novella going to come out to show you guys how everyone's doing. Cause I know you didn't get a super long epilogue, right? So when we got to the end of this book and it said, will return in whatever, like it was freaking amazing. And also getting the POVs of other people was like huge. So it was confirmed we would get more books, and it was confirmed that Nesta and Cassian were a thing, which again, I know there was like extra little scenes in some people's books, but they weren't there for like all of us. Like we weren't sure whether those little scenes were what the fan service was or if we were getting more. So getting this book and like, confirming that like they're going to try to have a baby and that like they're happy, but yet there's unrest still in some places. And seeing that like, Nesta and Elain and Cassian, they're not all just like okay immediately, right? Like those were all really important things. So I remember there be so much hate, like, right, because I was more a part of like BookTube as a whole still. So there were people reading Sarah J Maas, but they would really critique it. Like unless it was Christine Riccio, like people were really harsh to these books.
People were like hate reading those books.
Exactly. Like I specifically remember one of my friends making a video making fun of the fact of like that they would fuck in the sky or whatever.
Oh.
Which I know is weird. Like it is kind of funny that she puts that in there. But literally someone made a 10-minute rant about how like someone's looking up and seeing like Rhys's ass flying through the sky or something like that. Which is funny. Okay, like I respect that. It's funny. But it's also like
also such a small detail in the book.
Yes.
It's like one sentence.
Yeah.
Yes, people were so harsh. So hold on, my computer's now fixed. I'm gonna.
Cool. Oh yeah.
Perfect. So didn't yell at me, but it was just like it was just weird. People had weird, but this book coming out, I don't know. I never saw it as like a letdown or like being a bad thing. I was just so excited because at the back of that book it said we'll coming
continue back. Yeah,
right. She's like I gotta get Kingdom of Ash out, like we gotta do that, but like there's more stuff coming. So yeah, I don't know, but I mean I definitely get it. People are gonna rank stuff, whatever. I've kind of just so much moved past like ranking her books because I just see them as the whole universe now, especially with this reread.
Yeah.
Like of course this is the least favorite because it doesn't really have a full plot. It's just a check-in thing.
It's a bridge.
Right, which is perfect. That gets us up to the thing. So we're just going to go character by character and talk about what they're doing and where we're going. And we're actually going to start with the least of these and go up to the biggest. So we're going to start with like, we get a chapter from Mor in this.
Yeah.
Yay.
So what did we think about where she's at? And also, do we have speculation for more of Morrigan? Because she's not someone we see much in any other of the books either, which I know we're not there yet, but we don't see much of her in Silver Flame. So
yeah, I need her to be featured more.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really do enjoy her character, and like just like this one little snippet we got of her, it's like, yeah, like we just. Of course, we get her general backstory in the series, but like I want her to be featured more. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, she has that like interaction with Tamlin, right? That was him and her. They like when she's out in the woods.
Mm-mm. No, she did see a darkness though. That was like an interesting little tidbit. What, did she see Bryaxis? What was this darkness that she saw? Because like they had to go hunt down Bryaxis, but they hadn't done it yet.
That's a good point. Why did I think it was Tamlin?
No,
I'm
but
thinking of
Rhys has 2 scenes with Tamlin.
No, he does.
Yes.
But I'm thinking of Silver Flames. That's
Okay.
That's why. Wrong character, wrong book. That does
good.
happen, but it happens to somebody else.
But I love seeing her like just riding her horse, and like she had her own little secret sanctuary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm intrigued.
I really hope with like her being given because she gets a new position, right? Or she's going to be sent to do something.
Yes, she's going to be
sent to the other courts.
Right. Because I would really love to see more of other courts.
Yeah.
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 Like, I mean, I definitely see Sarah going to like Azriel's story next. I think that's where we're going to go. And then I assume we'll get whoever he ends up being with. Like, we need to know Elain. We need to know that. But like, what about like more? Like, it'd be cool to see other parts of that.
Yeah, so, I think more is probably going to have like a background romance in a future book, which would be really lovely to see.
Yeah, I don't see her doing a full. I would love it, but I don't see her doing a full fantasy that's a sapphic romance like that. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see more being the main character in a book, but I definitely want to see more of her being a supportive character.
Yeah.
I also think that she does a lot, that Sarah J Maas does a lot of things intentionally. So with like more being such, she's a big part of the inner circle, but she's not a huge part of the story. We get her backstory, but we don't really know who she is. She's like the truth teller, but what does that mean? And she also has a lot of secrets that she's keeping, even though she's like the truth teller. I think that I am hoping that more, not necessarily gets her own book, but we do explore her as a character so much more in future books. But I think she's very interesting for that reason, because especially in this one, we get her POV chapter, which we've never had before, but she's kind of like on the front lines, but on the side a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I feel like, so this is a good point. I feel like whenever we get Azriel's book, him and Moore have to have a come to.
Oh yeah.
And that's when I feel like there'll be either a side story for her or be more movement. Like, how cool would it be if Moore was with one of the Valkyrie? Like, what if she got with the Valkyrie? Like, that's what we want to see. Okay, we want to see that same thing. So whenever it's Azriel's time to shine, like Moore has to be a part of that, because whoever Azriel will be with, like, I mean, in Silver Flames, we definitely see Sarah not focus on there being a past, but I forgot that even in this one, there's still her feeling some guilt about Azriel. Like there's still,
there is.
Like Feyre still clocks. I'm using Tiffany's language. Like Feyre still clocks Azriel, like looking after Moore. And I was like, oh yeah, I forget that literally all the way to this book, that's still happening, you know? So yeah, definitely some stuff. Okay. Going through here. How about Lucien? I feel so bad for him.
Lucien is another character that I feel like hasn't been utilized nearly enough in this
He's
series.
on the front lines, but on the side. There's so many like great characters. And I, like you said, Jen, I feel so bad for Lucien. I love Lucien. I think he's got so much potential. I think he's so interesting, especially with the things that we find out about his parentage, you know, like, and that brings in like the other opportunity for seeing other courts, perhaps, you know. There's so many things you could do with Lucien.
Well, and with Tamlin, like kicking all his stuff out, cutting off everybody, going feral. Like Lucien only has a home that people have given him. Like, I mean, Rhys is like, let me give you this beautiful home. Like, be here, be safe, be free. And he's like, but I did not want it here. Like, to be around who I know is my mate, and she won't even look at me. Which
I feel bad about that.
we're gonna get to her in just a second. But like in the part that it refers to him, like that is like absolute like torture to have to do that. And so to have a place with all the other misfits. You know, he's making friends with humans, having a place to go where, like, you know, because those people, they all have their, like, damage, too, and they just get to be there together, you know? So.
I feel like that's the home that he's chosen, because you were talking about people giving him homes, and he only has a home that he's been given by someone else. Right. I feel like this is the first time that he's actually got a home that he has chosen for himself, and perhaps a family that he's chosen for himself.
Yeah, he needs to make his own place
in
this world. Yeah.
Well, Amanda, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
See, like, I think in Silver Flames we get a scene of him.
But there's not much.
Him. Like, we don't know. This is why this book is important. Because it's the most we see of people that aren't the, like, main ones going forward. Like, even these little snippets, to have their POV and not just have them be from someone else, like, it's interesting. Your Autumn Court heart. Why do you love the Autumn Court so much? That's interesting.
Lucian.
That's interesting. Oh, it's because you love Lucian. I got
you.
Because I was like, the rest of the Autumn Court is rotten. Like, we said before, like, I'm really ready for, like, Eris to just fully chop his dad's head off. We've bided our time. We've waited. He helped Rhys with what he needed. It's time for him to be supported and have those other High Lords have his back and, like, let's go. Like,
yep, you're right.
Let's get rid of this snake. So, but yeah, anything else about Lucien, anyone? I mean, again, don't too much, but it's got some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Let me see. What's anyone say? I feel like
there's definitely more with Eris. Definitely.
There's more. There's more.
In Silver Flames.
Yeah. But also, I just mean, like, Sarah's got to have more playing for him. Like, she has
in the future. Yeah.
She has worked a redemption to him to a certain degree. Or at least she's at least put him to the place where, like, I know this person isn't fully evil. Like, I would be fine with him being someone's love interest. That's where I mean she's done redemption. I don't mean that she's made him perfectly fine, but also, like, everything that went down with Mor, of course that was horrible, but we have to remember too that, like, these aren't humans, like, they're fae. This is how they do stuff. I'm not saying it's good. She was still horribly treated and everything, but it's also not the same as if that happened to a human. You know what I mean?
And I feel like Eris didn't really have a choice but to be like, no, don't touch her. Leave her alone.
Well, and he plays it off that, like, ew, she's gross. Don't touch her.
Yes.
But otherwise,
people would suspect him. The people in the Autumn Court, like his father.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like, he's had to walk a fine line. And that's why I really look forward to more of him and getting, like, his POV, because I'd like to know how much is the facade and how much is that. And I think in Silver Flames we see more of that, just with the move that he wants to make in that book. That doesn't happen. But, like, that would have been a fascinating story too if I didn't already have my heart set. Like, that's a fic somewhere I need to find, like,
right
this version of those two characters. I'm trying not to spoil it for people, but those two characters. But anyway,
yeah.
So this is a good question, Amanda, before we move on to another character. I still think that Sarah has the plans to, well, I mean, what I speculate is that so often in every fantasy book, if there's a couple who's a fated mate, fate wins. This is one of the few series where it is heavily hinted at that sometimes fate is wrong. Whereas in a lot of other series, fate is always right. It's just the way that you're looking at it is wrong. And I think it would be really fascinating if Sarah actually does at least one couple where fate was wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe it has to do with the fact that they were made into fae in that room. And
Uh-oh.
Oh no, not again.
Oh no.
But Jen brings up a good point though, in that like Elain being made in that room and Lucien was there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also hinted a couple of times throughout the series about like the mate bond being rejected before. Like it's definitely something that's happened. So I do not see the two of them being together.
It's gonna be a rough night tonight.
Oh.
The computer does not like me tonight. I can't even get rid of that other one right now because I'm on a guest one. So there's just a blank space next to my head until I reboot this. Anyway, I have like this suspect that the Archeron sisters mated to the unmated males in the room. That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
Personally. Although, I mean, Nesta and Cassian had something kind of beforehand, but
yeah,
that's something I suspect anyway. I'm just saying. So I wonder, it's like, what if fate is wrong? And like, nobody ever does that. Nobody ever does like, what if they were wrong? It's always, no, you just don't understand yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Or it could be a rejected mate story. It could be that too. So
yeah.
Let me see what you said. The way he treated his mom really stood out to me.
She might be talking about Eris.
Oh, are we talking about Eris? I'm not sure.
Eris or Lucien? I don't know.
Tell us who you're talking about, Stacey. With my computer being a butthole, I don't know what we were talking about. As long as Elain and Lucien both get their HAs, I'm okay. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Sarah is a fantasy romance reader, Stacey. We're safe. We're safe, I promise.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I've only read one completed series by her. But she's never killed someone who had a mate yet that I've read. Eris and his mom. Okay. How does he treat his mom? I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
Was he good or bad to her? I don't remember.
I don't even remember either.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Well, let's move along. I'm going to try to switch again here. Now we're going to go to, we'll just go to Elain. We'll just go to her before I move on.
Well.
I'm going to switch again. Hopefully this is the last time. So someone talk about Elain while I switch.
So I do find myself, upon reread, getting more frustrated with her at times. But at the same time, of course I understand what she's been through. But oh man, the way she ignores Lucien, I'm just like, oh, yeah. I get it. I get that, like, I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, don't ignore. Like, I hate when people ignore people. Like, that is just like a good statement.
Because she's like, what do I owe him? What do I know? And I'm like, that's true, but also.
But like, don't ignore him. Like, he exists. Yeah. Like, jeez. Yeah.
Like, he got her in that, like, really described her. So it was like.
Yeah. What if she knows something? What if she's
seen something?
Yeah. What if she's seen something?
Maybe.
I'm looking at the most positive light of her. What if she's
I'm trying so hard.
Right? Like, what if she's seen that he has a better mate than her?
Maybe.
And so she wants to be as aloof as possible.
And I think also she's still grieving over Grayson. She's still grieving over that relationship.
He's a turd anyway.
I know. I'm like, girl, he's trash.
He's a turd, dude.
But she's grieving humanity.
Yeah.
She's grieving humanity. He represents humanness to her.
Yes. Which is why I get it, but at the same time, I am frustrated.
Yeah.
But I like your theory, Jen, because they do mention it a lot, like, because she hasn't had any other visions or mentioned anything since the children.
Right.
Like,
so what's
maybe she is seeing stuff.
Right.
Uh-huh.
But also, I mean, she had an aversion to him right from the start, but she also, that was when she was in a different place. And like, I think like she's the most interesting to look at in Silver Flames. And Silver Flames is when I signed her off for a while. I really don't like her in that book, so we'll get to that one.
Oh, okay. I forgot all about her character in
Oh,
that.
yeah. Her interactions with Nesta in that one, I'm like, Elaine, you can jump for a little bit. But in this one, looking at the most positive, I think it's perfectly fair to be like, fate told me I have to be with this person and I don't want to. What do I owe him? I don't owe him anything. But yeah, she also doesn't need to be such a bitch about it.
I hate how he just ignores his existence. Like, yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, like, if Tiffany was here, if Jessamine was here, they'd be saying that, like, she just plays so fragile and everyone just does it, and they always have. And I mean, I liked back in, I think it was in Wings and Ruin. It might have even been ACOTAR, but I think it was Wings and Ruin. When Feyre was saying that, like, maybe there's something to Elaine always being kind, and like her representing that, like, it's not easy. Like, we look at her and we're like, she doesn't have it tough because Nesta's carrying the grudge and Feyre's carrying the weight of responsibility. And what's Elaine doing? Well, Elaine was holding on to like joy, you know? And now she doesn't have that anymore. So it's kind of like, what do I have? So I don't know. I'm never willing to write off any of Sarah's characters. So that's just where I sit, is I'm like, if we made a list of likability with people, like if I was doing a tier ranking, she's going to be low. But neither do I think she's a hopeless character that I won't ever like again. She's just someone I want to devote page space to right now, like until we're ready to go. But again, the point, I don't know who just said that. One of you guys just said it. She does everything deliberately. Did you say that, Joe? Who said that? Someone said she does everything deliberately. Joe said it. And what I would like, why I'm trying to look at everything she does is it's like, when it's finally Elaine's time, will all of these things equal to what it is? In the way that, because I love Nesta so much, when I reread A Court of Thorns and Roses, I already see all these things. And even when everyone else is like, oh, she's a horrible sister, I hate her, I'm like, yeah, but I see this, this, and this.
Yes.
And I see it all laid out already. So I'm like, what of those things about Elaine should I be seeing?
Right. I agree.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yes.
Well, that's like, my mom.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. My mom was reading ACOTAR, and I said in the group, like, she said something about Nesta, and I'm like, no. Like, Nesta is my favorite.
But the thing is I hated Nesta.
Oh,
Book
yeah.
1, 2, and 3. I absolutely hated her. I thought she was so ungrateful and she was so horrible. And then when I read Silver Flames, I was like, I am Nesta. Like, I am Nesta. Like,
yeah. I
was like, oh,
it's really fun. Like, it gives me chills sometimes because I clocked it from the beginning. And I'm not saying like, I knew. I clocked the daddy issues from the beginning just because I have them. And also my dad was very similar to hers in certain ways, like alcoholism and wanting to like just defer to you because they're embarrassed about themselves. Totally my dad. Also, what's crazy is between the time I read ACOTAR and the time that Silver Flames came out, like, my dad is sober and has lived a great life the last 7 years. And it's funny to me because Nesta's dad died, so she won't get to have those things. But I'm like, how would I feel about my dad if he died? I feel like my daddy issues then are never resolved. My daddy issues never get resolved. Like, I'm still a proud reader of Daddy King, but I had daddy issues. I don't really have them anymore. My dad's great. He's one of my best friends. But Nesta, I clocked that from the beginning, and I was like, girl just needs to work out some stuff. And she never got to, because her dad comes in, kind of saves everybody's ass, and then he's dead.
Then he's dead.
She doesn't get to have that conversation where they talk. And because she's such an angry person, like, she holds her stuff as anger, which, I mean, why don't we just move along to her since now I'm talking about her anymore?
Like, doesn't she also have mommy issues? Like, I'm pretty sure more so than her two sisters.
Yeah, but we're not to the mommy issues yet. We know about the daddy issues. We don't really know about the mommy issues.
Oh, that's true.
We don't find out about
that until
It's yes, her mother put a heavy burden onto her that I mean, her mother put a heavy burden. The mother put a heavy burden onto Feyre too. So I mean, we knew that one, but we find out more. But anyway,
stopped her education.
Right. So with Nesta, where we're at right now, she's at her peak kind of ridiculousness. She is starving herself, almost drinking herself, sexing herself to death. Kind of blatantly doing that. Like, this is really hard to see after having read Silver Flames like 2 or 3 times.
I know.
That backup book to this one, where she's literally like just fucking everyone, and he's out on a mountain trying to keep the wait, what's their names? The Lyrians together.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, girl, you need to stop. So
it's
Stacey,
very
you're in for it with this one.
Oh, sorry,
Silver
I just had to
Flames
pause.
is the first one.
Lizelle was still like, I still don't like Elain. That is fair, my friend.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Again, if we were tier ranking all the characters, she would be down there on the bottom with the king, with the High Lord of the Autumn Court, and with the human jerks. Like, that's where she would be. But I just have hope that she'll be great. Stays.
It will. It broke me.
It will.
Literally, the next 4 books we're gonna read are gonna break you. Like, they're all gonna break you. The next one's gonna break you a whole bunch. Crescent City's gonna break you right away and just keep you there.
That's
right at the beginning.
right off the bat.
Just trauma.
Woo!
I'm
I'm still not over that.
Just a brief blip of Crescent City. I remember reading that and I was like, what? What is happening? Just like at the beginning. Anyways, Nesta.
Anyway,
No.
we are yes. But that's why her books are
and with Nesta too, it's like so hard to see the self-destruction, the self-sabotage. It's something that I think a lot of us can relate to. That's a big thing for me, is that like I think a lot of us are like self-aware when we're being self-destructive, but we're just watching ourselves do it.
Oh yeah.
And that is Nesta.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
She's like, how much can I kamikaze my life until they get rid of me? Like, she's like, I'm going to live forever. So let me see if I can kill myself. Can I drink myself to death? Can I starve myself? Can I give myself enough sexual diseases? No, I'm just kidding.
She's like,
that's what's happening.
It's like seeing how she can push these people away,
and
the guilt that she has, and
well, and she was such a proud, beautiful woman too, who's like not taking care of herself. I mean, she's, you know, just the small stuff like her hair, her skin, her clothes, like she doesn't care about any of it. And it's just so much, because it's like she can't even rightfully like hate her dad anymore. And she also doesn't want to grieve him. You know, she won't go to the grave, which is an important point that's laid out in this one, by the way.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That was in
his grave.
Yeah. So yeah, her interactions with, let's see, we see some of her interactions with Feyre, and Feyre and Nesta are always interesting because they connect more, but they also are wary of each other more.
They butt heads.
Yeah. Like they come at the same issue from such different sides.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, that's what we said back then. Like, Nesta was very much like, I'm going to shove your problems in your face. And Feyre was very much like, I'm just going to dig deep and handle it, you know?
Yes.
Well, this again goes to like the differences of PTSD, like what Amanda said, like how different PTSD is for everyone. I mean, we saw it with Tamlin and Feyre, how they handled their PTSD, and now we're seeing how this handling hers is completely different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's nightmares, there's self-destruction, there's ignoring it, you know, there's all of those things. And yeah, I just love it. I don't know. I just love it because from such brokenness, we can see such growth that's going to happen. And I do think, like, I'll say this for it. And it's the way I feel in this one and the beginning of Silver Flames. I do think Sarah overdoes it a little. Like, some of the ways she has Nesta act do go over the top a little bit for me. Because I'm like, I think the nuance is there. Like, I think we see it. And maybe I'm specifically thinking more of like Silver Flames than this one, but she does go so hard into it. But,
into her rock bottom.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And very prolonged for it. Like, it's a very long time. But again, after some of the interviews I've heard Sarah do, I know that that's true of her depression and her mental health. As for her, it was a long lasting thing. So that's not my place to judge.
Yeah.
But
she was kind of coping through writing that book.
Right. So, but it's like, but also when you turn your life into a story, sometimes you need to adapt your story to be more palatable.
It's just hard to read in this. It just is. I mean, she's getting to rock bottom at this point, and it's
Yeah, and I think especially it is because we see so much of it in this, and then in Silver Flames, it's such a big part of the book.
Yeah.
So I think it's just doubled down on a little bit. I wish she had started her at kind of like a lighter level in this one, so that when we went into Silver Flames, it's not like we will see a sharp downturn, you know, because again, we're not in there yet. I'm speaking too far ahead, but like we see Feyre at a specific point in the beginning of the next book, which maybe people saw in this one. Like, mine has the first chapter of the next book, which like that was right. And we see her make a choice, and it's like, wow, that escalated. You know, it would be nice to actually see it like escalate more.
Right.
From what we saw in this one. And from what we see in this one, maybe it's just Feyre isn't fully aware of what's going on yet. And so when she is hunting her down, she's really being like, I need to push her to want to get better. So I don't know. But okay. Stacey, I didn't like that Feyre didn't have a gift for Nesta.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised she didn't have a backup present.
Yeah, because Feyre was the one that went to her in that pub, and she's trying to get her to come celebrate. But I'm surprised she didn't have a little something.
I mean, she's the one that kept pushing. I mean, she's the one that kept pushing for Nesta to come. But also, on the other hand, I can see how the constant Nesta constantly, turned her down. Pushed it down, pushed them away. And so Feyre probably had she probably, had no instance in her brain where Nesta was actually going to show up.
Yeah.
So I can see both sides.
For her? Did Elain get something for Nesta?
No, I think it's just Cassian.
Yeah. I don't remember.
No, Elain got
somebody got her a stack of books.
He got her a book.
Yeah, somebody got her a book.
Yes,
yeah.
She got her a couple books. She went in and asked the person which books she liked.
Yes, she got her some romance
books.
But I know that Elain and Nesta have a different relationship than Feyre and Nesta. Yeah. But still, even through like all of my trials and tribulations with my sisters, I would have still I would have still had a little something.
Had a little backup.
Yeah.
Because I would have hoped that she would have shown up, But
all right. I'm going to move on from Nesta because we're going to talk about her for a whole book, and we're already an hour in. I know part of it is my computer having problems. So I was like, we'll just talk for like a little bit. God damn, no better. But anyway, she is wonderful. Yes, the audio is going to be amazing. Yes, she has lots of self-hate. Yep. We will definitely get to that. It is a little I love it. Now I wanted to go, okay, of course. We'll just do Cassian.
Yeah, might as well just go right to him.
Might as well just do him too. Yeah. Oh, my winged baby. He's my favorite.
Well,
there's a moment
I literally had this in a video today, so it's sitting by me.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I need those covers in my life.
That
moment when they have their confrontation, when Nesta and Cassian have their confrontation, there's that moment that always like stabs me in the gut. when I think she ends up like ignoring him and just walking away, and he like it just makes him think of how he's just a lowborn bastard and he's not worthy of anything. And I'm just like, Cassian. Oh my God, that moment always gets me.
Yeah. Well, he's just been rejected his whole life.
His entire life. Yeah.
You know, like the only people who accepted him is the inner circle and everything, but he was never enough. You know, him and Az are like never enough.
Never enough. Yeah, you're right.
And they're just constantly have to prove themselves. And then it's like fate finally gave me a mate, and she's, you know, he can handle a broken mate. Like he's been broken, but he can't handle someone who hates themselves that much. Like he can tell. Like he can tell. Everyone can tell.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's gonna be a good journey. It's gonna be a journey. I don't have any more to talk about him because I want to. Oh, the place he burned to the ground.
Oh yeah, his present. Oh yeah, when he throws the present into the...
Yeah.
I want to know what the present was. I know what it was, but I want to know what it was.
Yeah.
Did we find that out in Silver Flames?
I don't think so. How do you know?
I don't think so. I'm not gonna say anything, but no, I don't think so.
Well, because he gets a different gift in that one.
Yeah, he gets a different one.
Yeah.
It's not.
Did we ever find out what it was then?
Not yet, but I have some theories.
Oh, okay.
You can tell us later. All right. It's all three, but the snowball fight was so cute.
So silly.
Yes, their snowball fight is fun.
The annual snowball fight.
Yes.
Grace
yep,
getting
I
kicked
know.
out.
But Cassian doesn't give her gift in front of anybody. Like Feyre would have had a gift to give her. That was kind of ridiculous. But it's okay. Anyway, yeah, poor Cassian. We'll get back to him.
Love him to death.
We'll get back to him.
Poor baby. Yeah.
Okay. So then we're going to save our main couple for the last. But let's head on over to the Destructed Spring Court. Tamlin just losing his goddamn mind over there.
Somebody else is going through it.
It's a very, very conflicting. He's a very conflicting character because, of course, he did these things to himself. But I do think there's a window for redemption. Yeah. And it's interesting to see. I think in some ways, Tamlin and Rhys both, they kind of relapse into these like familiar masks that they have to wear in front of each other. Like, I mean, we'll get to Rhys soon, but with like Tamlin, and I forgot that he had actually had that moment of remorse where he was like, "She'll never forgive me."
I'll never forget it because that's why I'm rooting for him.
I am. Yeah.
I'm rooting for him. And like, I mean, Rhys has said he's never going to forgive him, but like Rhys is going to forgive him.
But
Rhys is the best. He's going to forgive him.
Yeah. And like, also at the end of the day, Tamlin did some pretty big things for them in the war. Like, I understand he did some terrible things, but he
literally
also
they're both alive. They're both
alive. Yes. They're both alive because of him.
He had motivations, obviously, for Feyre to be alive. But if his grudge was big enough, he could have just said, fuck it, I'm not bringing him back. Like, look at the trouble that he caused, you know? Like,
and that other time she almost died in ACOTAR. Like, remember when he, like, makes the wind happen?
Yeah.
To, like, help her fly away? Like, there's so many moments that he could have been like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, there's definitely potential for Tamlin. And I think that he's one of the most interesting characters for me to read about. Anytime he's on the page, I am just interested in what's going to happen and what he's going to do and what it's going to add to his character. Because I think that, I mean, he's got issues, right? He's got issues. He harms other people because of those issues. But so do a lot of the other characters in the series. I'm not excusing anything that he's done. Yeah, they're fake. And
they're not human.
You can't hold them by human standards. And like I said, I'm not excusing anything that he's done. But a lot of the other characters that we know and love have hurt other people because of their trauma. And, you know, I think there's a lot of room for a redemption.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, when we really look at it, if we were to look at all the High Lords, all of them lined up. Like Rhys and Tamlin, and maybe what's a shiny guy, the Dawn Core guy. They're like the nicest ones. Everybody else isn't great. Like everybody else isn't great. I mean, Tamlin, he inherited from shitty dude. Eris is going to inherit from a shitty dude. Not great. Like, it's not like anyone is clean. It's because we love the Night Court that we're pissed about what happened, you know? And, like, the things that happened to Rhys's family, well, of course he doesn't ever want to forgive. But, again, they're kingdoms. People are at war. People kill each other's families when you do that stuff. And if you don't want to kill the person off and have a new person be the High Lord, you're going to have to work with him for forever. So, hold your grudge while you want to, but you're gonna get over it eventually. Like, that's why, like, in my gut, that's why I'm thinking, like, I just think it would be interesting if it was Elain and Tamlin. I'm just saying. I
agree.
Because then everybody has to kiss and make up. Like, it's gotta happen.
And she is made for spring.
She's literally the flower child of the whole family.
And the drama that would be, though, with Lucien.
Drama, yes.
So much
angst.
It's brilliant. Yes. It's brilliant. But no, I love that scene. I love seeing him here. And then again, like, where we're gonna see him, because now, like, you know, he's like sent everything away, and then what we're gonna see him be like in the next book, and also like he's gonna become a liability because he's the court that's the closest to the border. Like, that was still a problem in ACOTAR. Like, that was the problem there, is it's like he, you know, like Feyre weakened his court and he's the one closest to the border. Like, that was a problem in that one. That wasn't the smartest way to do that, you know? And that can still be an issue if there's going to be problems coming from there, is it's like, how do we rebuild this High Lord, you know? Struggling with self-recrimination.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
You know he hates himself.
Him and Nesta will have extremely similar journeys, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Amanda, I'm just saying, it would be brilliant. It would be brilliant. It would be great. Although I still do hold to my crossover theory of him having a mate in a different series. Like, I think that would be interesting for someone too. And like, I could see it being Tamlin or something, but I don't know who it would be. I don't know who it would be, but I think that would be interesting. Or again, if I went with my theory of like maybe Elain knows something, what if Lucien's mate is from a different place too? That could be cool. Or not his mate. She is his mate, but his like love interest. So I don't know. It's amazing. Okay, let's go to Feyre.
Sweet baby child.
She's just trying to paint. She's trying to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to be the High Lady.
Trying to buy her boo thing a gift, a little Christmas present.
Yeah.
She's probably like the least interesting character in this.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
I mean, she is. So that's the thing, like, why I think people reading this the first time, after reading some other things, it's like, well, there's no like tension anymore. Like, no one's trying to kill Feyre or Rhys. They're happy. Yeah. They, you know, can be doing whatever they want. It's everybody else who's still kind of dealing. Like, they have their mate. We're safe. We can make family planning together. We're good. It's everybody else who's unsettled now. But I mean, I like her journey. I, of course, love the idea of having like a healing art studio and doing therapy like that. And I mean, she annoys me a little bit of being like, can I just use my money for this? And I'm like, bitch, you saved the world. You can use the money for this. Okay. And you're going to do something altruistic with it. Like, what's your problem? I wanted to do like the traveling art pub and like go to different courts and have like for all the survivors of the war.
Oh, yeah. That would be so cute.
Mm-hmm. That is a fanfic I want to read. I'm requesting that.
Right.
They do like a tour and they do like wine and paint with me for like therapy.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, I mean, she's not that interesting, but it's not a bad thing. It's like she's getting to have peace she'll have enough drama still coming for her.
And we're making the transition into her no longer being the main character.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You
Like
know?
her HA is here. So people saying nothing happened, I'm like, they're lying. They don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rhys and Feyre don't have a lot happening. They're planning a Christmas party and they're trying to organize so they have time to fuck each other. Like, that's what you'd be doing. Okay, they're still technically newlyweds. They didn't even have a honeymoon. So,
Yeah.
what you gonna do? Write it, Jen. No, Amanda. Thanks for that's why I requested it. They're smarter people than me.
Yeah.
I love that they targeted it to kids. Yes.
Yeah, that was just adorable. That was
There
so
is
sweet.
a lot of parentless kids.
Yeah.
But how many kids are there? That's something that, like, isn't it like there aren't a ton of kids, or am I thinking of other fantasy series? I feel like
I don't think there's a lot of kids around. I know that it's very hard for Faye to have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that always happens though. Like, not to be the thing, but like if there are species that live forever, they always have fertility issues. Or they have like a period once every 5 years or something.
Yeah.
And I'm always
Either that or they
Well,
just
they have
keep
it twice a year.
multiplying.
Well, right. But I'm like, one time I want to read a series where there's actually the couple that has like 12 kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
That are like centuries apart, right?
Right.
I don't know. They can live forever. And you were fertile, like, even if they were spread out, like, even if your fertility was spread out, like, you're a fae, you have unlimited resources.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, Lucien has 7 brothers or something, right?
What?
Lucien has like 7 brothers or something.
Well, right. But it's never like our couple. That's my point.
No, yeah.
You know, and again, I can't speak on anything else, but other people's babies. Or 1,200. That's funny. I mean, if you're going to live for forever and you're a really horny couple like they are, even if you only have 2 periods a year, things are
There you go.
Things are happening, you know. I always love that Sarah puts menstrual cycles in her book. So, love it.
That was something I remember loving about, like, I remember Crown of Midnight. They commented on how she was finally having periods again.
Yep.
After being in Endovir.
Mm-hmm. That happened. This is random. That happens in Last Light too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That he murdered her. I love it so much.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, when your body's in danger, it's like, we don't need to be pregnant, so we're gonna shut that down.
We're just trying to survive. Yeah.
Yeah, but also there's a really cute period scene in Silver Flames too. I love that one.
Mhm.
What the? It's so cute. But anyway, all right, and then of course we have our precious Prince of Night.
I will say I was disappointed in him. Like, the man is over 500 years old, and you're really gonna act this petty to Tamlin? Like, the first scene that he shows up, I'm like, girl, really? Like, you're gonna kick a man when he's down?
Yeah.
Like, and I think somebody brings it up later. Like, you're really gonna kick a fae male when he's down?
Yeah, Lucien says it.
Right.
Because all of his stuff gets kicked out of it. But
yeah,
it's like I feel 2 ways about it. Because I understand now that them being sick, because he let a lot of stuff slide. He let so much stuff slide in ACOTAR because he was hoping Tamlin would work along with them.
Yeah.
Because he needed him. And so, like, in those meetings, he's like, unless Tamlin, like, directly called Feyre names, he let so much stuff go.
Slide. Yeah.
And they never had a confrontation about certain things. And so, yeah, it is disappointing to see it because Tamlin is in such a, like, shitty state. But I also was like, I understand him being like, we're all safe. Everything's fine. You're just being a pouty little bitch. And, like, you've done, I don't know. So I feel both ways about it. Sometimes when I read it, I'm like, feel for Tamlin so much. And sometimes I'm like, I want Rhys to get to say his piece because he always lets stuff go. And he's like, I don't have to let it go anymore. Like, we are both the High Lords of good standing. Like, she's my mate. Let it fucking go. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry that fate made her my mate. She isn't yours. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. And I think I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, Jen, about them slipping into their previous masks. That is not a word.
Yeah,
Their previous masks that they wore before. But I also think that, you know, within this, it is a happy, you know, a happy story overall, this book in general. But also this huge war just happened. There's a lot of, you know, strained ties between the courts, and I think it's a really raw situation, and I don't think we've had a scene yet where Rhys actually gets to talk to Tamlin one-on-one, man on man, stay away from my woman, get over it, you know. And it's, you know, he is 500 years old, so you kind of expect him to be a little bit, and we always see him be the bigger person, and I think in these scenes definitely we see him kind of really letting out what he's feeling, in a direct way instead of always rising above.
Right. Well, and he's not wearing a mask either. I mean, I know he said he slides into their roles, but like he's not there on behalf of Amarantha.
Yeah.
He's not there trying to make a deal. He's not there needing to negotiate. He's coming to check in on him and also just be like, because who Rhys really is a mix of all those things. Like he is kind of that. Like he isn't who he was on Columni, but he has that as part of him too. So he's a little bit of everything.
I guess I expected him to be just more real with Tamlin, and I feel like that first scene especially, he puts on that like irreverent mask again, and I'm like, but you would think after the war we could just be real with each other. Like we could just be 100%, this is what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
But that's also a familiar role for him.
Yeah. 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 I also don't think he's in a place to be forgiving.
Yeah.
With him.
Yeah.
I do question if events that happen in Silver Flames will change Tamlin's perspective towards grudges and things. I would put that forward because that's something we should mention. There is an oath that gets said at the end of this book that is not just a sweet, cuddly promise. And I forgot that it happened at the end of this one. Or no, it happened at the end of the last one. But it's set in motion by them deciding to have a baby. Which I don't think they thought about when they make that promise.
Oh, right.
That happened at the end of the last one.
Right.
But I was reminded of that when her gift to him is, we can try to have a kid. And, you know, that is a really risky promise to make. And with no spoilers, but also, I'm saying no spoilers, but the fact that we're talking about it, obviously, there's something to do with it. But to make the promise that we will die on the same day, we'll die at the same time. That's convenient when it's just, well, not convenient. That's easier.
It's easy to make that vow when it's just the two of you.
They made this promise.
Yeah.
Kind of in the heat of a moment. I mean, it's a beautiful moment of like, I lived for a minute thinking you were dead. I never want that other minute. If you're going to die, I'm going to die. And now we're in a peacetime, so it's easy to make that promise.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
And now we've agreed to have kids. So I just wanted to mention the like.
That's a good point.
I was reminded of that promise they make, y'all.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the promise until
I remembered the
read
promise.
that. I was like,
right. I remembered it when we were talking about ACOTAR. But then it hits even harder when she's like, my gift is that we're going to try to have a kid. We can do that. And I was just reminded because I was like, childbirth is dangerous. And not just the childbirth. I mean, obviously they're choosing this, but like, we're not totally safe yet. We just, you know, and I mean, they acknowledge that like there could always be another war. Like, I want to have a family, which that is a decision people have to make in any time, in any country, in any fictional life. Like, life can happen. You can get hit by a car. You can get sick. There could be a war. A bomb could fall. Like, any of those things can happen. And if you're going to go from being a couple to being parents, that's not
there's a responsibility there.
There is. And think of stories we've read where they're mates and the parent follows the other parent because they're mates, and it's sad. And there's stories where one of the mates lives long enough to take care of their kid and then lets himself die because they're missing their mate the whole time. Like, that's already like a risk when you're a fated mate. But if you didn't make a bargain, you could at least stay for your kid, even if you're in pain. And now you've made this bargain and you're going to take the choice away. You can't break it.
Yeah.
You can't break it. So if you were to go, you're taking your partner with you and potentially leaving behind an orphan.
Mm-hmm.
Who is then maybe going to become a supervillain later on because they find out.
There you go.
My parents didn't love me. Anyway, I was like, oh wow, this hits different this time. Like,
yeah, we know.
Yeah, like it hits different when it's like, oh wow, Sarah was planning this. So crazy.
Emotional damage.
I know. I'll never get over it. I mean, I have to go through it again, but I'm never over it.
I know, right?
Well, and it's a thing, like, okay, I can't go into this all right now, but like, one of the things I love about Nesta, and will love more about her when we do Silver Flames, is that certain aspects of like how she loves her sisters is how I feel. I am not a reserved person about my love, though. I'm very much am fierce about it. Out loud, not fierce internally. And like when something hurts my sister, I will kill it. I will kill it. And I love that about her, and that's something that I really love about her. So anyway, I love Nesta. We know.
Love me some Nesta.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyway, okay, I do have just two more little ones here. This one doesn't have a ton, but let's talk about what are some things that we are still nervous about. Obviously, it was a good reminder. Where's Bryaxis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that they were just casually like, oh, by the way, we got to go hunt Bryaxis down, and then nothing happened.
We'll do that next week.
I remember that, you know, when we talked about Wings and Ruin, I was like, oh, yeah.
But Bryaxis is just chilling.
Right. It never
in that forest that Moore was riding by.
Right. That was a great point, because that definitely could be. Also, what if he escapes to a different world?
That very well could happen.
And he shows up somewhere else. Because I
just don't even remember the Silver Flames. I just don't remember.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we see him. We see.
I don't know if we see Bryaxis yet.
No, it's not that
so long since I've read Silver Flames. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. Well, Silver Flames doesn't have the same kind of issue. Like we're probably building to more of those, but Silver Flames is definitely internal issue book. But it would be very interesting. Yeah, I don't remember where he's at.
And then also now knowing Silver Flames, like the discussions that they have about like the Mortal Queens.
Right.
Yeah, and all of that. It's good to be making those connections.
An event that happened many, many years ago with Cassian, Azriel, and Rhys.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they're so great. I love them. Let me think.
Oh, yes. The scary unknown creatures in the north.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder, how important is it that rituals be done? Because I feel like, you know, like they're having this big celebration. They're finally able to do, you know, like on their night, the winter solstice, their night, and they doing that. What does it mean that like Tamlin's court is basically disbanded? And he, you know, like how important is it that there be high priestesses that do those things? Like, will that mess up the balance? Like, even though we have a high lord, but he's not doing what he's supposed to do. Like, what happens if he doesn't do a columni the next time around?
Right.
You know, Lucien did the last one. Like, what does that mean?
And also, like, did it even matter that, like, wasn't Lucien, like, a stand-in for one of them or something? Like, does that even do anything? Like, does that even mean anything? Like,
well, I think, because I think what the answer was, and I know a lot of this is coming from my auntie, so how much can we trust it? But, I mean, I think you're supposed to complete it to get the most out of the season that you can.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, because it has to do with, you have that, like, fertility right, and then it will make sure everything grows well for the next year and everything. But I'm more thinking, like, will that only affect that court? Because the powers, you know, that the High Lord has is what represents the court? Or is it actually going to affect the land if spring isn't the way it's supposed to be? Will that affect something else? Because we don't talk about that.
And that there's no wall anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a whole different thing, too.
Right. But I don't know. It just kind of hit me, too, is it's like, how important is it to do those things? Because we see him living alone in his house. Sure, one step. Then we have the next step where he literally, like, he gets rid of all of Lucien's stuff and he goes, like, feral. And where we'll see him later, like, he's living as an animal. He's basically living in his wolf all the time. So how important is it to have a High Lord be where they're supposed to be and, like, do those things? Does it matter? Is it just the fact that every court has its power and the power just needs to exist? Or does it need to be channeled into something? Like, what will happen? I don't know. Will it throw us into a Chronicles of Narnia thing? Like, it will always be warm but never spring? Like, what will we have without it? Like, what does it mean?
That's a good point. Yeah.
There's also mention that there's scary and unknown creatures in the north. Oh, okay. Cool. Oops. I think the winter one is embracing the light after making through the darkness.
Oh,
are you talking about the rituals?
Winter solstice.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yes. I mean, I know they're different in each court. Springs is column 9 because they are new birth and growth. That's why it's a fertility, right? But I mean, like, how important is it to do it? Whichever one it is in each one, like, how important is it?
Yeah, is it like just keeping the balance of power in the world? Like, what exactly is going on, right?
Yeah.
Or is it just tradition?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, that's my point. Is like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it just because that's how we split up the lands back when?
Right.
They got split up into these, and they each had their own powers, and they happen to fit into these categories. What does it mean? You know, because
I'd love to learn more about all of that, like the formation and all of that. Yeah.
And even, like, whatever their powers are, like, they don't necessarily correlate with where they are. You know, like, Autumn's is flame, you know, and, like, one of them is breaking curses, and one of them is now my brain just froze, but you know what I mean? Like,
Dawn's is healing.
Right. Like, that doesn't, why is Dawn healing? You know, so is it right, these are just the powers that got put in this court and then we named it something, or is there a bigger purpose to the land that, like, that's just my point. Like, is there going to be an issue later on with the fact that Tamlin's running around crazy and nobody's doing the rituals, nobody's there, all the spring fae have, like, fled to other courts, they went and stayed, you know, like, they've left.
And he's closest to the human lands.
Yeah.
All this is happening while his lands border the human lands. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and it's like, is Spring Court going to go the way of Dusk Court? Because, I mean, there is no Dusk Court. There's dawn, day, and night, but there's no dusk. So it's like a Spring Court going to end up being like a Dusk Court where there's just nothing there? Doesn't exist anymore?
Wow. Yeah. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. That'll just be interesting to see in future books.
Yeah. So anyway, those are what I'm pointing out of, like, those are potential problems.
Yes.
Those are just things that seem unrestful to me that could mean more. And then did we see any really connections in this one that we haven't seen before? I didn't see too much with this one.
Could have sworn there was something about maybe, like, a weapon being made of star like some, I don't know. There was like something that I could have sworn was maybe kind of a connection of like Throne of Glass.
Oh,
having to do with like stars, like.
Well, there was that Weaver.
Oh, and the Weaver making like the void, like the all of that.
The fabric.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And like the fabric kind of reminded me a little bit of like the spider silk. There was something about the iridescence or something. Yeah. And I was thinking about Stacey just brought up the stone at the top of the mountain being alive, like something about that geography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there a connection?
Yeah. Well, because Cassian says something about like it's been here longer than the land. Did he say that?
Yeah. Something like that.
Before the courts were formed, before this, that, and the other, it's been there.
Being alive. Well, and yeah.
That's giving me vibes of other series.
It is.
So,
well, and if that maybe was like an entry point of some kind.
Yeah. That could have been one of the tears in the world or something.
Plus, like what Stacey said, she said there was a mention of scary and unknown creatures in the north.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that makes me think of, and when Rhys,
like
I think it's Rhys's POV, when he's talking about when Feyre was running around trying to save him, she had no idea what was actually in the forest. And I'm thinking, the spiders, maybe? You know?
Yeah, like some other creatures.
What is there?
Yeah.
Because we get some of the creatures like Bryaxis and things like that, but in the bog, but like what's in the north that we haven't come across yet?
What's in that
what are
forest?
The creatures of the north? What's in the forest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's something there for sure.
So exciting. It's gonna be good.
Good stuff.
Patiently awaiting.
Right. Books are gonna be long discussions, I feel like.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we still went 90 minutes. We're so cool. So much. This was great. Yeah, so the next one, we're finally going to take a trip back to Rachel's channel for Kingdom of Ash. Oh my gosh.
I'm so excited to be hosting this live show.
I know. That one's going to be epic, you guys. Like, just be prepared.
I'm not ready, but I am ready.
Yeah.
I just started it today, and I'm already just like, oh.
Yeah.
Chomping at the bit, I'm telling you.
I'm hosting Freaking City.
Yep.
We're not going to be on your channel for a while again, Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I do not know if Tori will be back. I had asked her if she was going to do it, and she never answered me. So I'm like, I mean, if you're going to have time, you can binge them all. Otherwise, yeah, it'll be good. I'm plenty happy to take a break. I promise. I'm ready.
So
I mean, also be
when is the next one? So it's on my
December
channel.
18th.
December 18th at 5 p.m.
Yep.
Central Time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, I mean, you can wait till December to start if you want. I mean, you'll have 3 weeks to read it still. But we wanted both of these live shows to be before the holidays. That's why we just did 2 weeks for this one. And which obviously was easy enough. And then, I mean, you have a full month to do Kingdom of Ash if you want to start it right away.
Yep.
I mean, you go for it. It's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. I haven't read Kingdom of Ash. Yes. Yeah. And that one is like...
It's a honker. I think it's 999 pages or 990
Yeah, it's like just
pages.
under 1,000 pages.
Yeah, she's
what is it?
It's 984 pages.
Wow. I forgot it was that long. I literally read it in 12 hours. So
oh my god.
You're a special breed. Okay.
I told you
how you do it.
I vlogged the whole thing. I got it at 9 o'clock in the morning and I finished it at like 9 p.m. that night. Didn't stop. Didn't
You're
stop.
like a super woman.
Yeah.
It was so much, man. I mean, I've read I read all of them except for the newest one in a day. Like Crescent City, I didn't even mean to read in a day. I started it in the beginning, like when I was on a drive to visit, and I finished it on the drive back the next day. And then I got home and I had like 300 pages left though. And I just sat and listened and flipped pages and cried. And
yeah, it's a really good audiobook.
Like I didn't even mean to, but I did that one in like 24 hours. But Sky and Breath was 2 days because I had to stop at night.
Took me probably like 2 weeks. It was so rough for me. And I think it's because I waited so long in between the books. Even after the second book came out, I still didn't read it for so long.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of regret not reading Crescent City, but I said, like, I'm also glad I didn't because I wouldn't have made it through that one again. Mm-hmm. Like, I needed to just jump in and then whatever I didn't remember, I was like, whatever, it's okay. Like, we're going to get through it. I'm excited to reread it this time.
Me too.
Because I'm looking for stuff. Like, like I'm ready to look for stuff. So
there's a lot to look for.
Yeah. But anyway, thank y'all for coming to hang out. This is a treasure as always.
Yay.
And we'll see you on Miss Rachel's channel next month. So have a happy Thanksgiving if you live in the US, and buy some tissues before you read Kingdom of Ash. Buy tissues. Do that. All right. Good night, friends.
Bye, everyone.